Thank you, Mr. President. This week, the Australian Energy Market Operator, AEMO, published the 2019 Electricity Statement of Opportunities. The report forecasts electricity supply reliability in the national electricity market over a 10-year period to inform decisions by market participants, investors and policymakers. Mr. President, the report makes for sober reading. The report forecasts that this summer there is a significant risk that insufficient supply could lead to involuntary load shedding, in layman's terms, blackouts. AEMO says that during extreme weather events, these blackouts could result in between 260,000 and 1.3 million households being without power. Unfortunately, that may well be realised over the summer. The report again highlights that additional new transmission and dispatchable supply will be required ahead of time as existing dispatchable power sources come offline. Renewable energy is inadequate for this purpose. The report says most of the announced new generation projects are variable renewable energy generators, which often do not generate at full capacity during peak demand times or may be positioned in a congested part of the network. As a result, while providing significant additional energy during many hours of the year, these projects are forecast to only make a limited contribution to meeting demand during peak hours. End of their quote. Mr. President, this is the point that is too often ignored by renewable energy zealots. It can't provide the power to us when we need it most. Following the closure of Liddell, AEMO said that, and I quote, "A combination of high summer demand and unplanned generator outages will leave New South Wales exposed to no significant supply gaps." Will leave New South Wales exposed to significant supply gaps and involuntary load shedding if no mitigation action is taken, end quote. It further forecasts that between 2023 and 2024 there is a risk to between 135 and 770,000 households in New South Wales being without power for 3 hours during an extreme heat event. This is a real concern. Mitigation action, of course, Mr. President, is code for let's see if we can switch off the Tomago smelter, take it offline for a little while and hope that it makes it through. This smelter is dependent on constant baseload power to enable the plant to continue to operate. An extended power-off event, similar to that which happened at the Alcoa plant smelter in Victoria in 2016, can cause significant damage to the facilities which require constant electricity to operate. It would jeopardise the future operations at Tomago. The smelter is of vital importance in the region, with 950 full-time equivalent jobs and around 190 contractors on top of that. It contributes around $1.5 billion to the Australian economy, produces 580,000 tonnes of aluminium, of which 90% is exported. The 10% that stays in Australia represents around a quarter of domestic supply. Tomago uses a constant load of around 970 megawatts, and it's done so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since 1983. Every time that Tomago is required to reduce power during rolling blackouts, it runs the risk of catastrophic potline freezes that would jeopardise the future operation of the smelter and result in the jobs being lost forever. There is some light on the horizon today. We're hearing that Hunter Energy has bought the former Redbank power station near Singleton in the New South Wales Hunter Valley, and they're planning to acquire existing generation assets to help shore up power supplies. We're told that Redbank could power 250,000 homes and operate for a further 20 years perhaps. In addition, the owners of Vales Point's power station on the Central Coast are hoping to extend the working life of Vales Point power station to keep the supply where it's needed. Mr. President, I was also invited recently to Star Scientific in Newcastle and Central Coast-based startup for a demonstration of their hero catalyst that uses oxygen and hydrogen to produce heat, which can then produce a turbine. And I'm very excited to hear that Origin Energy is involved in the further rollout of their prototype, and I look forward to hearing more about the results that they've had. Mr. President, in my short time remaining here, I want to emphasise the warnings contained in today's AEMO Statement of Opportunities. I remain optimistic that the public, industry and government are coming to terms with the limitations of intermittent renewable energy, and that there are real alternatives out there coming online soon that I hope will provide for baseload power in New South Wales into a future that means that the concerns of AEMO aren't realised.